Marvel's coming to Comic-Con at San Diego. We're going to talk about it and speculate. Size of Coin starts right now. Yeah, so they're going to announce Phase 4. They're going to start going through the new slate of films on Saturday, June 20th. So I'll run through everything exactly what we know, and we'll start talking about it. But I want to introduce who we've got with us today. My friend Matt is joining us.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Matt. How's it going? Wyatt's
Hey,
producing us today as well. We didn't put a camera on him, but Wyatt, chime in. Say hello to the good people.
Hello, good people.
Great. All right, so let's get into this then. The news I have in front of me here is that the Marvel Studios panel is on Saturday, July 20th, running from 5:15 to 6:45 Pacific time. So that's 1:15 to 2:45 for those of you on the East Coast. And the description of what's going to be included is basically Kevin Feige and some surprise panelists are going to look at the ever-expanding Marvel Cinematic Universe and give us our first glimpses into the upcoming slate of films. So, what we want to talk about today is we're on the before side of that. We're going to be able to look back at this in a week and see how crazy we are. Hopefully we're excited. But what do you want to see from Phase 4, knowing nothing? Like, knowing what we know now at Far From Home. Excuse me. But like, what are you excited for and what do you hope to see? In general, just something.
First of all, I want to see some movies. So hopefully they put out some movies.
We're setting the bar pretty low.
Yeah, set it low.
All right.
Only go up from there.
So I would agree with that. You've got my complete agreement. I would also love to see at least one or two movies.
Yeah, at least.
But I would love to have in those movies one or two different people. I love the idea of the Skrulls having a huge role to play. I think that would be really, really neat.
Yeah, that'd be cool. But there's too many people I want to see.
Who do you got? Go. Let's run down the list. What do you hope to see in Phase 4? Where do you think the story's going to go?
I don't know. I really want to see like Doctor Doom in there somewhere.
Doctor Doom. Oh, so it's a Fantastic Four, right?
Well, I mean, he's not only like Fantastic Four. Okay. But I mean, he pops up mainly. He's mainly their guy, but he jumps in and out of other people's.
Because the only full disclosure now, I'm not a comic book guy, so the only thing I know Doctor Doom from is the really bad.
No, the movies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. He's the Fantastic. He's the fifth Fantastic Four guy that just turns out to be a bad guy in those movies. I mean,
yeah, I don't know. They haven't done him justice in anything, but I mean, they're putting money behind stuff, so they definitely can.
I mean, they own all the characters now, so yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's not hard to do him right. He can do so much though.
What's his thing? What does he do?
Well,
what's his powers?
He's super smart, and he when he was like a baby, like his mom died. Mm-hmm. Mephisto, who me and you were talking about before, basically the devil, like killed his mom, took her soul and everything, because she did like witchcraft and stuff. So he studied like witchcraft, all that, and like technology. He just scientist, like so he got the best at both. Okay. So with that, like,
and so really is it like the movies then, that he gets his powers from some sort of explosion, sort of like the Fantastic Four, or does he already have his powers? Is he separate from the Fantastic Four?
It's a mix of both. It's a mix of both. Like, it's mainly his powers is through like studying the witchcraft and everything.
Oh, okay. So it's like more supernatural sort of stuff.
But he also makes devices and stuff. That's what I'm saying. Like, he wanted to be the best at both, so he wanted to like avenge his mom.
So it's like Doctor Strange and Tony Stark thrown in a blender.
Yes.
But like evil.
Yes.
I'm there for that. That sounds pretty exciting.
Doctor Strange too.
Yeah, I mean, so I think a lot of those are definitely going to be there. Like, we're probably going to see, obviously another Black Panther movie. We're going to see another Spider-Man. I mean, they'd be foolish to stop that now.
Yeah, no.
Do you think? Here's a thought. What do you think about Venom coming into the MCU? They left it pretty ambiguous. It could happen.
They talk about that it could happen. I don't know. I wasn't. A lot of people didn't like the movie. It was better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I just watched it recently. We're thinking about doing a video about it, but the really short version is everybody said it was just like dog shit for so long, and so I didn't watch it. I was like, I don't really care. It's not in the MCU. I'll probably skip this one. But I went back and watched it. It was It wasn't perfect,
Mm-hmm.
but like it was better than I was expecting for sure. Tom Hardy was fun.
Yeah, I like Tom Hardy.
I think if they bring that into the MCU, I think he'd be a good casting and it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, he's like one of Spider-Man's biggest villains.
For sure.
Like Carnage, but you also got like Hobgoblin, Green Goblin.
So there's been a lot of speculation that Spider-Man, obviously, with the way Far From Home went, like they're going to give him a large role in Phase 4. And you've already got Scorpion, Vulture, I think the Shocker is there too. So there's definitely a good couple people. There's theories that Mysterio survived.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of different stuff where maybe you could get some sort of a Sinister Six sort of vibe going on.
Well, that's the thing. I heard supposedly one of the main villains for the next phase is going to be like Norman Osborn. They're going to bring him in because he has a lot of stuff to do, not just with Spider-Man. He ends up like controlling the government, like takes over S.H.I.E.L.D. and controlling the government.
Really?
Yeah, like as a good guy. Like he didn't just take over and like, I'm running this. Like the government gave it to him.
So Norman Osborn wasn't like it, because in the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans, I mean, it's Willem Dafoe. Like he just looks like he didn't even need a mask to be Green Goblin. He just walk out.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
just throw a little green paint and like Godspeed, Spider-Man. It's just kind of
pretty much.
That's all he needs.
Much.
But so, are you saying that in the comics, Norman Osborn is a lot more? He's a lot more nuanced. There's a lot more to him. He can be believable as sort of a good guy. Well, sort of like Robert Redford's character in Winter Soldier, where the guy, I can't remember his name, Chairman Pierce, I think his name is, or something like that.
Yeah.
But how he looks like a good guy, but he's actually, got nefarious motivations.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, he's a bad guy, so like the older Spider-Man, like they did him right. It's just he goes through so many arcs, but he's kind of like a Lex Luthor for Marvel. It's pretty much exactly how
Gotcha.
it is.
Okay, so he's got a lot to do then. That would be neat to see. I know there's been speculation that Avengers Tower, since Stark moved out of it, might get bought by either Oscorp or something like that, and they could really start to move that in. That would be interesting to see. And I love I'll put spoilers in the title for this, so we're not gonna ruin anybody's day. But spoilers for Spider-Man having J.K. Simmons back as J. Jonah Jameson. That would be really cool too, to see sort of how he continues to play. It'd be neat to see if he was like sort of the boogeyman that kept coming back through all these different movies. Like he's the news for all the different heroes, sort of spinning it this different way. I'd be interested to see what his motivation is.
I mean, it's gonna be how it always is. Spider-Man's a menace, and that's what they're gonna do for the next one. I know he's gonna be on the run. So I don't know. See how that all plans out. So
yeah, I'd be interested to see, because like they always introduce a big, like unexpected things. Like the last time it was Guardians of the Galaxy. It was like, people like me were like, what the hell? Like, I have no idea. And then once I saw some posters come out, I was like, they got a raccoon. Like, this looks ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be awesome. And then the same thing with Ant-Man. I was like, this looks so stupid. It's like, I'm not going to watch this. But then it was amazing.
It was like one of my least, like the movie I least wanted to see in Marvel was Ant-Man. But I really liked Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Ant-Man and Wasp, I loved it too. But the new one for the next phase is going to be Eternals.
Yeah, so tell me about them, because I know nothing, and I'd love to get a bit of a primer on who the Eternals are.
All right, so the Celestials, you see a little bit about, like in Guardians, they talk about them in the first one.
Yeah, it's a guy.
I mean, there's a bunch of them. They're like gods, basically.
Yeah, but I'm saying like Ego was one of them, right?
Yeah, yeah, he was. But so they came to Earth probably, they said 5 million years ago, and the first like humanoid creatures, they tested them and they created a being to protect the Earth.
Okay.
So like they took a bunch, made the Eternals, who were supposed to be like the protectors of Earth.
Okay.
And then they also made another race called the Deviants, and they're like the evil side.
Okay.
So
So who makes up the Eternals? Who are the different characters?
Man, don't ask me their names. I always forget their names.
Okay, no, that's fine.
There's a bunch of them.
I'm sure we'll get to find out. That's the exciting
because
thing.
they also made a bunch on like the Skrull homeworld and the Kree homeworld. That's because Thanos is a hybrid of Eternal and Deviant. He's a mix of both. That's why he looks ugly like that, because he's half Deviant.
I just assume that's how all Titans look. They all look like super roided out grapes.
No. He looks different from the rest, but yeah, he's a hybrid.
That's interesting. Well, that's exciting. I mean, I was telling Nick on one of the Spider-Man review, as I was always such a big fan of Iron Man. You know, I mean, he was it, and I always thought that if they ever axed Tony Stark, I would lose interest, right? Because like I never really cared so much about Captain America or any of those other characters, but like the way Far From Home did it, you know, they kept me interested and it built this universe out and it made it so believable. And I think that, you know, it would take a pretty good amount of consistent failures to get me off of the Marvel train at this point. I think they've really earned moviegoers' trust, and there's definitely a lot of good content that's come out. Their movies have been great. They handle the weird characters really well.
Yeah, there's a bunch of movies I've seen slated that's coming out, but then there's also like they got a movie coming out of like Shang-Chi. You know who that is? He's basically like Bruce Lee. He's just like the best martial artist in like the world.
Are they gonna cast like Donnie Yen and just have him just be a badass for 3 hours?
Probably. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's probably gonna be okay, but you can see they're trying to like do like the kung fu. That's a cool. They can do a lot with it, especially with the effects and everything, and all the money they got behind it. But
yeah, I don't know, man. It'd be interesting to see. I'm pretty excited. So we'll find out on Saturday, and then we'll have to see how right or wrong. Well, we didn't really make really hard predictions or anything, but it'd be interesting to see. I personally would just love to see the whole Spider-Man dynamic fleshed out. I like if he's the main focus of this new phase, I'm all about it. Let's get all those villains through. Let's have all that happen. That'll be very, very neat. But then you talk about this Eternals thing. That makes a lot more cosmic sense, sort of like that big bad. One thing we were talking about, you're a huge Captain Marvel fan.
Captain Marvel, baby.
Yeah. So what's her role in all this going to be? I mean, do you think she's going to have a lot to do? Or okay. Well, what do you see her doing?
She's going to end up leading the Avengers. That's what she ends up doing in the comics. She ends up being like the leader. She's gonna lead them somehow. I mean, I know a lot of people won't like it, but I'd rather her lead it than Falcon. I'm not a big Falcon fan, but yeah.
I mean, that's cool. Fair. Falcon's like,
I mean, he's basically Cap now, so I mean, and that's what happens in the comics, even though they skipped over Bucky being Cap. Which is whatever.
It makes so much sense that Bucky wasn't Cap in this universe.
Yeah, no, I wasn't mad about it. Yeah. But I mean, him and Falcon got a show coming out, so I'm pretty hyped about that.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
She's gonna end up just being like I guess a mix of Tony Stark and Steve Rogers together. She's gonna be like the team lead, and as you say, she's OP.
So here's my pitch, and I don't know if this will happen or not, but I would love, given how powerful she is. She's just supremely powerful. I would love to see her come across some sort of ethical dilemma, sort of like Steve Rogers did in Civil War, and have it flick her in a way that she flicks a switch in her mind that she feels she's so right, and she has to compromise certain beliefs or whatever, but she's firmly believing that she's right, and she's doing stuff that's just completely wrong. And she becomes sort of like an evil Superman, sort of just like villain. She's the next big villain, and she takes all the Skrulls with her, and they form this sort of Civil War 2.0 sort of dynamic. That would be very, very cool to see, because she's so powerful. She knows all the secrets. She's been let into the Avengers headquarters. She's looked at as one of the good guys. I think no one would see it coming, and it would be. She sort of reminds me of Daenerys Targaryen a little bit, in that, you know, like, she's very emotional. She's very like. She flies. She's not flies off the handle. No, she's off the cuff, right? She's very like improvisational with the way she is and how she dispenses judgment and things like that. So it'd be interesting to see, given the right set of circumstances, I feel like she could lean more toward doing something darker or giving out too much of that justice that she likes to dispense, and that'd be interesting to see.
They could definitely do that, especially because how they made her character like super prideful. She's serious, and just how like they are looking at her like, hey, you're still new.
Yeah.
So it could be that like she's gonna try and take over the Avengers, but
because like couldn't you see, so sort of like Civil War happened, right, where Steve Rogers felt that he was right, and Tony, a lot of other people were like, yeah, you're right, but maybe someone like you might not be right eventually, so that's why we're going to set up these rules and things. I could see her just being like, no, I'm not going to follow your rules. Screw you guys. I know what's right, and I'm Captain Frickin' Marvel. And so, starts this Civil War 2.0, and then that'd be pretty interesting.
In Civil War 2, kind of what did happen. I mean, she had a side and she stuck to it, but yeah, I mean, they can obviously flip that where she's on the wrong but thinking she's right. I mean, that can easily happen, and then just her attitude, that I can see that happening.
That'd be
she
really
just
cool, right?
Turn into like a villain-esque, just like what they did with Daenerys, which I wasn't too happy about.
Okay, well, we'll get you on a Game of Thrones discussion later. Yeah. But yeah, that would be really cool. So anyway, we'll see how it all works out. Saturday's the panel, so we'll check back in after that. But yeah, I'm excited. I know you are too, and it's going to be great. I'm very excited to see what happens. Let us know what you guys want to see out of Phase 4, and we'll be back next time to talk about it. This has been Sides of Coins. Captain Marvel, baby.
Captain Marvel.
Is that our personal attack?
Oh, man. I thought that was going to come up. I thought we were going to